Hey buddies, welcome to Amass Games. My name is Simon and today I'm going to talk to you about this board game as a novel. This time we're talking about Arkham Horror, which is interesting as it's around Halloween time when this is being scheduled for release. And it's called Mask of Silver. It's by Rosemary Jones. It's the third book I've read so far from Anarchite Publishing. Anarchite. So I've read Marvel Heroines Domino Strays. I've talked about that one. Please check out the playlist for that. There's also various other playlists, such as, of course, Amass Games, how to set up, play and review, amongst other things, family weight games. Twilight Imperium. There's, of course, other books which are in the Marvel Universe. Fractured Void, I gave my review on that as well. I said the third book I'd read would be an Arkham book. So in this instance, Arkham Horror, I compared to probably the games in this series, it's one of my least favourite because it's very random in my view. But this is set in 1920s, as Lovecraftian horror always has been. Now, Lovecraft, of course, was H.P. Lovecraft made books, novels, short stories, scripts, and things like that. Then Arkham Horror basically is one of the trademarks and became many, many different types of games. So, of course, this Cthulhu kind of cosmic horror stuff going on. And in 1920s, there's this Chinese-American lady who's kind of the key person in this. It's very much set around the 1920s films and movies. And I, for one, have got a very good knowledge of that period in time. And it's very accurate in that description. It's very good at that. And even credits some people at the end. So I've got a good understanding of that and know that Anna May Wong is basically someone who they even kind of reference indirectly at the end as well. So in terms of this, what do I think of the book and everything like that? Well, there's a mistake on page 25, a tiny little goof on a spelling on something with the word wand, I believe. But aside from that, there's no other spelling mistakes. It's a very loose story. What I mean by that, I feel very stereotypical, very cliche. It doesn't go into too much detail and description, but it works very well for me to get the flavour of what's going on. But in terms of the story itself, I found it very loose, not very deep. I didn't find much going on in it. I found it too predictable and unfortunately in that respect boring. And unfortunately, it's my least favourite of the books I've read. It's one of the least, well, I'm not saying it's a terrible book, but it's one of the worst books I've read in my view. But there is one moment of horror on page about 247 odd that, my heart was racing, it really kicked in. I thought, well, this is a very long way into a book for it to finally get interesting. But the first half of the book you can skip. That first 160 pages, it's very droll and very little of interest at all. There's very little about it that I really found had anything of value, aside from a little bit of reference to Arkham, obviously the place in its mouth and stuff like that. So that's my review. Of course, something has to come last, and there has to be something whereby I think, everything can't be great, for example, and that would be this one here. Now, there is another Arkham book I'm going to be reading. As mentioned, I would be reading this one next, and I'm already, within 2 days, over 100 pages through. I think I found one mistake, potentially. Just one mistake. Legend of the Five Rings, Poison River. This is a mystery book, but there will be a separate video for this. So please ensure you've hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And of course, that notification bell to know when this comes out. Aside from that, please hit the thumbs up. Please let me know you're enjoying it. Please hit the share button as well. I look forward to telling you about all of them, of course, in due course. Of course, in the other Arkham Horror book coming along. So thanks very much for watching and speak to you again soon.